Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay, let me get a little closer. How about now? Okay, great. First of all, we're really happy you're here. You're in for 2 days of really terrific training. And our speaker is somebody that I have seen, and maybe many of you have seen. The first time I saw him was at the APAC conference this fall. I don't know if anybody here attended that, but that's what gave us the inspiration to try to go ahead and see if we could get Tom to come out and visit us in Tucson. I went ahead and contacted Tom and asked him if he'd be willing to come out and do the training with us. He said yes. We kind of worked on a couple of different days that we could do it. Arrived at these 2 days, and then I went ahead and called 4 other providers, all of which who immediately said, oh, absolutely, if we can get Tom Pomerantz, let's get Tom Pomerantz. So Gina and Gordon and Mark and Steve at Tumblin all said, yeah, let's get him. So we are just thrilled to have Tom here for 2 days of training. A couple of things you need to know about Tom. Let Tom introduce himself. His bio goes a mile long. I'm sure I'll give you an abbreviated version. Otherwise, that's all we're going to do. He's been doing this for years and years. And one of the things that I wanted to make sure that we got out of our training was all of the things that we value, all of the things that we believe in terms of giving people, encouraging people to have a valued, meaningful life, in terms of respecting personal preference and choice, in terms of all of the things that we try to teach the folks that we support. That's what he brings to the table. So I am, again, just thrilled that you're going to have an opportunity to hear Tom speak. And if anything happens as a result of this, it'll inspire you to at least examine or re-examine your role as a direct support provider. And so I think that's what you're going to walk away with. A couple of housekeeping things that are really important before I introduce Tom. One, the bathrooms right around the corner. You can take a bathroom break. You're not locked in here. Lunch is at exactly noon. I'm going to encourage Tom to break at noon. More importantly, get back here at 1 o'clock. Hopefully everybody get back into their seats by 1 so the train just moves along. Cell phones. Does anybody have one? What's that? Make sure your cell phones are on vibrate or silent. If you have to make a phone call, please step out of the room. Okay? So everybody check their cell phones, vibrate or silent. Lastly, those of you that have an orange bag on your table, you're from Blake Easter Seals? Yes. Okay, it's very nice to Blake Easter Seals. Those of you that are with Tucson Residents Foundation, if you check under your seat, there's a card to a new Buick for each one of you. Just had to show up to you. Okay, without further ado, he's a nationally recognized speaker, lecturer, clinician, and I couldn't be more thrilled to introduce Tom Pomerantz.
Thank you. Good morning. Thanks, Bob. Good morning. Bob left off one thing. He said, Tom, it's so important that staff don't text. I'm going to make sure, and I thought that was good. So he said, you got to know something. Is that I did a session last week, and there was a guy in the back of the room staring at his crotch for 20 minutes. No, I didn't know what he was looking at until I went back there and I saw he had a cell phone. Under there, he was texting away. So anyways, I am delighted to be here. And before I do a few words of introduction about myself, I train, first of all, on 50-minute CEU hours. I go for 50, I break for 10, and I try really hard to be precise. I'm going to say for purposes of the record, so it'll hit at noon, that it is now 10 after. It's not, it's 5 after. So our first break will be at 10 o'clock. Who in this row will let me know when it's 10 o'clock in this row? No one there won't cooperate. Okay, over here, 10 o'clock? Then you will, okay. Now, Mohammed, even if I'm in the middle of a sentence, go like this, because you may not know this. There are several folks in this room who smoke, and if you don't let them out of here at 10 o'clock, they start shaking really bad. They get this anxiety attack. I used to be one of those a long, long time ago, right? And you all have name tags on, right? Can I see those? You want to make sure there's someplace where I can see them. The reason you have name tags on is I'm going to be calling on all of you a lot. Now, I may be entertaining, but I'm not here to entertain. We're here to learn. The further in the back you sit, the more I will call on you. Last row, because no, I got these folks here, man. They're with me right here. It's those people back there I got to call on a lot. Now, when I call on you, I don't want to put anybody on the spot, okay? So when I call on you, if you don't want to answer, you don't know the answer, you're shy, whatever, all you have to do is say pass. You don't even have to say I don't know. I'll go to the next person. The harder you try to give me the right answer, the better you're going to do on the test, okay? I would ask, however, that you wait until I ask you the question before you say pass, because it could be yes or no, and you have a 50% chance of just getting it right, okay? Now, additionally, and you don't really know me, is that my training is very provocative. It provokes. And there will be times you're going to say, what is this guy talking about? That's in direct conflict with what they told me I was supposed to do in my job and all this kind of stuff. If I'm saying something that is unclear, it doesn't make sense, raise your hand. I have a name tag on too. Just call me Tom, raise your hand, and I'll stop wherever we are, and I'll be happy to answer your question, okay? Now, there are 5 different agencies in here. Even though you're all from Arizona, your 5 organizations all have a different mission statement. Their values are a bit different. Your job descriptions are different. And I am doing only 1 presentation. I'm not doing 5, okay? So you all are going to have to figure out how all this fits for you. I know it will, but just sort of be listening as I'm talking. Additionally, I don't want you to kill yourself taking notes. And I know some folks don't have a pad. We were supposed to have pads. Where's the lady who was going to give them the pads? Yeah, we need, some folks don't have anything to take notes on. You will need something to take notes on. We did have some pads available. I see some folks may not have any. Don't kill yourself taking notes. All of the slides will be made available to you. That's really important. There are hundreds and hundreds of slides. If you go online, you'll see this presentation is available for sale, and it's like $290. Seriously, through Icarus Films. It's a pretty expensive, just the slide presentation, because there's hundreds of slides. Those will be made available to you at no charge through your agency. So you can do whatever you want with them, you just can't sell them, okay? I just want you to know that. I'm going to give you lots of examples of stuff today. My examples are not really important. What's important is the principle, and I want you to go away with certain principles. Now, for the hard part for me today, I want to introduce myself. And this always gives me a sense of anxiety because I don't especially like focusing on myself, but you need to know where I'm coming from, because the things that I'm saying, many of you will say, where is he coming up with this, right? First of all, this is my 50th year of doing this. This is all I have ever done for 50 years. I'm 71 years old, okay? And I don't even have to be smart. I really don't, because I'm around a lot of very smart people. I'm on the road all but 4 weeks a year. I was in 32 states last year. And I have the opportunity to be in every imaginable kind of location, from places where folks receive intermittent residential support to traditional day program, facility site-based programs, to larger congregate residences, to 3-person residences, to state-operated developmental centers, you name it, sheltered employment programs, work activity programs. I am not your typical talking head. They said I'm coming to a Sheraton hotel, so I wear my sport jacket. No, normally I'm in Dockers and tennis shoes. This Thursday, I'm going to be in Culver City, California, as an example, 5:30 in the morning at a group home with 4 folks living there, who all have autism with extreme interfering conduct, and I will be training the staff on site. So could you be kind enough to put that over there for me? Thank you so much. Yeah, and gentlemen, if you could be kind enough, by the way, don't stare at these guys. They feel bad enough walking up in front of you. Just keep looking at me. Okay? Yeah, and if you could be kind enough to take that pad and put it through the holes on there, that would be great. That thing kept on falling over. So I'm not your typical talking head. I have an opportunity to be on site with folks who receive supports on an ongoing basis. I have 2 areas of expertise, if you're interested. I train occupational therapists, physical therapists, nurses, and other people in allied health who support individuals with developmental disabilities who are medically fragile. So I do a lot of, I'm very involved with folks who receive nourishment by tube, can't roll over, have quadriplegia, who require pervasive supports. Now on the other end, I train behaviorists and psychologists who support folks with extreme interfering conduct. These are people who eat their tennis shoes and go from one room to another and don't use doors. My area of expertise is forensics. I do a lot of work predominantly with men who have an intellectual disability, who have been convicted of rape, pedophilia, pyromania, and murder. So I'm really lucky that I work on both ends of that extreme. So that's basically all I want to share with you, other than the fact I've worked in all three sectors of our industry. I worked as an assistant superintendent of habilitation of 2 large state-operated developmental centers. I was an assistant superintendent of treatment of a large state-operated psychiatric hospital. I was an executive director of an ARC, community-based not-for-profit. We had the full range of services, early intervention, preschool, sheltered employment, and so forth. And I was director of continuing education at St. Louis University Medical Center and taught as an assistant professor of mental health administration. And then my final thing before I started working on my own, I served as vice president of operations and chief clinical officer of the second largest for-profit provider in the country. We operated in 13 states and supported several thousand folks who had developmental disabilities. So that's the background. Let's go ahead and start. I'm going to take this off. You all can remember my name because it's going to fall off if I don't. And I want to share with you what I put up here. It's rather interesting. Getting a life for people and coaching them into it is the intervention. I know it may be hard to read from the back, but getting a life for people and coaching them into it is the intervention. Now, having said that, it is my opinion that the vast majority of the people who we support do not have a life. Okay? That's my opinion. I welcome yours. I was doing a session not too long ago, and it was a keynote. I probably had 500 people in the room. You got it? 500 people. And when you do a keynote, you only have like 45 minutes. So I'm on the stage, and the folks in the room were direct support staff like yourself, and managers, supervisors, executive directors, and so forth. And I said, if the people you support have a life, if the people you support have a life, raise your hands above your head. No, not with you, it was with them. Raise your hands above your head. Look around the room, look around the room. 500 people in the room. And I bet you 495 hands went up. Then I said, put your hands down. I wish their life on you and your family, your children should have that life. They were so angry with me. They were ready to throw me out of there. You understand what these people were doing, I assume. They had a very different standard with respect to what constitutes a quality of life for they and their loved ones versus the people who they support. It's not complicated. Because they knew the truth. They knew the vast majority of these people had no control over who they lived with. They had no control over the people who came into their life and touched them in the most intimate and personal of ways. For the vast majority of these folks, especially those that lived in larger congregate residences with 5, 6, 7, 8 people, they didn't even have any control over the food that they eat. Some unseen face from a far-off land with the RD initials after their name, dietitian, told them what they had to eat. What about this one? There's a very large percentage of the people who we support who can provide informed consent for sexual activity. Informed consent. But yet for the vast majority of the people who we support who can provide informed consent for sexual activity, they're required to take a vow of celibacy. Because the place where they live will put every barrier, every obstacle they possibly can in front of them to prevent them from engaging in what most of us would consider appropriate sexual conduct. You know why they were upset. Well, if we don't go away with anything today,